All right, Alex.
What you seeing?
I got 122 flag, 107 front, uphill. I'm excited to share with you.
Hello, friend. My name is Scott Epstein, also known as Scottie the Caddie, and welcome to the Links and Lifestyle Podcast. I'm grateful to be here and thankful that you're taking the time to listen. First on the tee and what I want to talk about today. Melissa and I took a road trip last week to our happy place up in the mountains in North Carolina. We had a couple days of rest, fun, bonding, house searching, a golf event for Links and Lifestyle. Plenty of cool lessons came that I want to talk about. So let's dive in. Started with us making the drive here from Bluffton up towards Cherokee, North Carolina, where we have traveled to many times. We stay at the Harris property up there, which is absolutely gorgeous. On the way up, we met our contact Rod at the Western Carolina FCA chapter for the golf outing up there. We got to meet him at the golf course, a place called Springdale Resort, which is a gorgeous golf course. Mountains, up and down, in and out, tree-lined, the type of golf that I grew up around and really have a special place in my heart. It's amongst my favorite types of golf courses. Rod was awesome. Rod lives life the right way. He and his wife, Tracy, they're making an impact on a lot of people at Western Carolina University, spreading his word and being a mentor to many. We were invited to his home, which is right on a river in a town we had no familiarity with at all. We saw a couple homes on his street, a couple of lots that are available, and it was just really cool. One of the things that Melissa and I did in our former life and our network marketing life is we learned the importance of touching and feeling and talking about things that you want. So one of our long-term goals is to have a mountain house. It's not tomorrow, but it's something we're working on. And so it was just really neat. And part of the trip was to explore different areas and see different houses and just kind of put that energy out there into the world. Later that evening, we finally got to Harris, got settled in, and we went downstairs to play. There was a time in my life that I was a very big gambler, whether it was poker, casinos, sports, and even sports watching. And over the last year, and especially the last 6 months, a lot of those priorities for me have changed and shifted in a positive way. I played blackjack for about 10 minutes and I went upstairs. Like, it did nothing for me. I didn't particularly enjoy it. And it was, I think it was a sign of my growth, which is really cool. Melissa also came upstairs and, we decided to go upstairs and hang out instead. When I'm at the tables, people drink, obviously. And, whether it's at the tables or on the golf course, being around it doesn't bother me at all. And I have no interest in it. And it doesn't bother me that people do it. There was a different time and place where that was not the case. Prior to 2014, there were many times in a casino that I had some pretty significant wins and losses and lots of drinking and joints that went along with it. We went upstairs, we watched some Netflix, and we had a really busy following day, Monday, planned. Melissa had a real estate call for about 45 minutes that we had to take in the room because the signal once we get out of there is bad. And it's always fun for me to hear her doing her thing on the phone. I'm very blessed, and she's really good at it. And she just has a way of talking and listening that has taught me a lot over the years. But we went to a town called Butler, about 3 hours from where we were, to check out a friend's mountain house, an area we'd never been before. And it was gorgeous and just an amazing area. Like I said, we live in paradise. We're 20 minutes from Hilton Head Island and the beach. And I am more of a pool person than a beach person. I don't dislike the beach, but it's just the sand, getting dirty. But pools I love. But we both are aligned in our love for the mountains and the lakes and the rivers and just being outside and being out there in nature. We then drove to Gatlinburg for to go to a couple stores and a winery in particular that Melissa really likes. And, over the course of the trip, we just had some great conversations and connection. We talked about business. We had lots of laughs. We acknowledged how fast the kids have grown and just, what it's all going to be like when they're out of the house. Alex is now home for the summer, which is really exciting. We went to our favorite store. We had a really amazing pizza and got some wine to bring home, a few bottles, a little bit. We drove back to Cherokee through the Smoky Mountains, which are beautiful. If you've never been, I highly recommend the Gatlinburg Smoky Mountains area. Melissa loves to take pictures, so we stopped quite a few times. We timed it really well, so it was around sunset. She saw some elks. She loves getting really close to the elks, and one in particular we were able to drive up right next to. And, I was really focused the entire trip on being patient and being loving and just letting her have fun. We talked a couple weeks ago about letting loose on karaoke night, and I was just focused on her having fun. So after a long day, we got some food, went up to the hotel, and we watched Netflix. We banged through Fast Break, the show about the Laker ownership team over the course of like 3 days, which is unlike us. We don't usually make time to watch TV. And it also ties into the bachelor party story I shared about last week. A night in the room, snuggling and just watching Netflix and not having any dessert, not having kids, not having dogs around was kind of nice, and just what the doctor ordered for both of us. We didn't go down to the casino that night either. Tuesday was the golf event at Springdale. It was an absolutely gorgeous day. It was one of those days we have down here that I call like 3 seasons in one day. The day starts off like in the low 40s degree wise and was up to about 70 by the time the groups teed off and we got out of there. And it was just beautiful. We got to share our box with 84 golfers, got to shake hands, introduce ourselves, had the experience of them opening it and really enjoying it, hearing our message. We got to address them, which was really cool. We both got to speak from the heart about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And like I said, Tracy and Rod and their team were great. We got to meet some really nice students from Western Carolina University that are, spreading his word and doing really nice work. And so that was great. The other thing I got to experience was, when I'm caddying at a golf outing, it's certainly different than the role we were in this time. And so, it wasn't like a day of work for me. And I just really connected with how excited the golfers were to be there, play a great golf course, have a fun day. When you're caddying, in some ways it's just another day at work. But this, what I experienced was a little bit different, which was cool. So summary of some key lessons from the trip I want to share. Touch and feel what you want, even if you can't buy it or have it right now in your life. We talked about energy and the law of attraction and the laws of the universe. That's a big thing that I believe in and a universal truth that I believe to be true. I want to acknowledge and just talk about my growth around the gambling and also my continued journey in sobriety. After stringing lots of days together, I'm probably guilty of, like most of us are, of not giving us credit for how far I or we have come in something and appreciate it, like we talked about last week. I know that it's challenging for people. It's still challenging for me. And if I can be a resource for anyone or an inspiration around that, then, that makes this all worth it. It makes me feel good. Make time to get away with your spouse. Melissa loves to travel. We'll do more of it as we push toward deep gulp, being empty nesters in about 16 months. And lastly, relationships take work, and making them healthy and happy takes lots of work. I'm so grateful that Melissa and I have put in the work. And I know sometime before June 5th, she's stepping into our podcast octagon, Joe Rogan style, and we're going to be vulnerable and talk about lots of our ups and downs that we've enjoyed, and in some cases not enjoyed as a married couple. If you're enjoying this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. It helps the algorithm and the stuff that I continue to not understand. Big finish. Win for the week, challenge, Bible verse. Win. Alex is home for the summer, like I mentioned. He got a job at a busy, high-end restaurant on Hilton Head Island. He starts training, and he'll be waiting tables, which he's pumped about. And I'm just amazed and grateful for the conversations that we're having about his future. And they're powerful, and they're mature. And as a 20-year-old, it's truly mind-boggling. I think about what I was like at 20, and the head that he has on his shoulders and our daughters do is night and day. I did a better job this week at being present and locking in with Melissa and the kids, so I'm happy to report on that. Challenge. We're busy, like I mentioned, but from a different angle. I'm a planner. One of my regulars was here, and the regular caddy I work with, and when I just talked about, what's going on over the next 4 weeks, he's just like, dude, I can't believe how you just have to plan all this out and all that. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that's what our life is. But I'm also present to fun. Finding time for fun. If you ask me, like, what's the most fun things I do, I'm very fortunate that I work for 4 hours on the golf course with great people, and that's one of the funnest things I get to do all week. one of my closest friends, sits in front of a computer all day. That's not fun for him. But yeah, I've got a couple days of Melissa's going away for a wedding, and what's fun for me is going to be reading and having the TV on in the background and eating good food and just doing the work around this business and maybe hanging out with the kids. And like we talked about with the bachelor party, being in bed at 10 o'clock and eating a good dinner. That's my kind of night. Lastly, Bible verse, Ephesians 5, verse 25. Therefore, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Some takeaways. Sacrificial love. Husbands are called to put their wives' needs first, demonstrating through love, actions, not just words. That's one of the things we talked about. Melissa likes, she likes small gifts. That's one of her love languages. Spiritual leadership. The verse implies that husbands should lead their family spiritually, guiding with wisdom, prayer, and faith, creating a legacy of faith within the household. Full disclosure, Melissa is definitely further along in her walk with Jesus than I am. So, she has taken the lead in this, for lack of a better word, but I'm stepping into that role and it feels good. And that's something that I'm very, that I talk to the kids and with her around, and in some cases the dogs when I'm walking them. And lastly, emotional support and communication. Effective communication and emotional support are essential. A husband's love involves listening, understanding, and fostering a safe environment where his wife feels valued and respected. Just ties into what we talked about last week about appreciation. Daily acts of love and making my marriage and Melissa and all of our marriages a priority in this crazy, fast-paced world that we're living in. Thank you. God bless. And I look forward to seeing you next week.